people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
To the mother relay, we're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Eddie Hearn on Devin Haney's reaction to Ryan Garcia's positive tests. He took a lot of punishment in that fight. He's taken it extremely personal. He said to me, I could have lost my life in there. He doesn't believe Ryan. He's pretty disgusted about the whole thing. No one can really understand what he went through that night. He got knocked down 3 times, 3 officially, 6 unofficially, losing his footing. He took a beating at times. He's very, very angry. He actually wants to do something worse than just put the gloves back on.
Take it to the streets.
What's surprising is how unsympathetic a large portion of the boxing community have been throughout, unsympathetic towards the plight of Devin Haney. Devin Haney, who wants Ryan Garcia disqualified from their fight over Ryan's positive drug test. I expect fully it will be made a no contest, but Devin wants him disqualified. I'll be honest, I don't see how you can be given a win when you didn't win.
Devin didn't win.
The most he can hope for is a no contest ruling so that the loss will be removed from his record. What's surprising is how some have taken to calling him a sore loser.
Because Ryan pissed hot.
That's what all the newfound lab techs on Twitter have resorted to calling Devin Haney, posting the New York State Athletic Commission's rules on Osterin levels, saying that Ryan's levels were well below the allowed threshold by the New York State Athletic Commission, to which Devin Haney responded, no, he tested 6 nanograms and 35 weigh-in day. He was 60 times over the limit the day of the weigh-in.
This is what people are resorting to assert Ryan Garcia's innocence. All of a sudden, they're lab techs.
They're all staffed at the New York State Athletic Commission, and in their professional opinions, Ryan Garcia did not cheat. To which veteran boxing scribe Ryan O'Hara responded, Osterin isn't allowed above 0.1 nanograms per New York State athletic regulations. That level falls under the scope of what is deemed as naturally occurring within the body. What I don't understand is why so many people are being flagrantly idiotic about all of this.
Because they want to troll Devin.
Ryan continued, for clarity's sake, Osterin doesn't occur naturally in the body, but that's how the New York State Athletic Commission determined their threshold for what's allowed. Of course, that makes no sense. In spite of that, Garcia was still well above that limit. That's why it's a qualifiable substance and not a quantifiable substance, though I don't think these people even know the difference.
What that means?
Or they're pretending that they don't, so that they can keep trolling Devin Haney and try to qualify Ryan's win over him that is now tainted as a result of this anti-doping fiasco. They fancy themselves lab techs now, putting out their fake news. Fake news, in Victor Conti's opinion, Snack founder Victor Conti, who says, fake news is being spewed about the New York State Athletic Commission's chart of allowable limits for performance-enhancing drugs.
You know they don't want to listen to him.
The trend is silence Victor Conti on the premise of his sketchy past, him being at the center of the Balco scandal, distributing all those performance-enhancing drugs to athletes many, many years ago. Though from what I can see, he's more well-versed on the subject than they are. He would know, and he says fake news is being spewed about the New York State Athletic Commission's chart of allowable limits for performance-enhancing drugs. Osterin has a 0.1 nanogram allowable limit, and Ryan Garcia had a 6 nanogram reported limit for April 19th, which is 60 times over the limit. History of B sample testing is 99% confirmation of A sample.
Huh?
What he's saying, in layman's terms, is usually in this situation, whatever you find in the A sample, you will also find in the B sample, because those samples are taken the same day. It's basically the same urine in 2 different bottles.
What's in the A sample is usually what's in the B sample.
According to Devin Haney, Ryan's B sample is being tested on May 22nd. Once that comes back negative or positive, which it will come back positive, he will then have to explain how it got in his system. Aspirin shouldn't be in your system under any circumstance.
That's what I said.
But how the fuck would you know?
Hey, this ain't my first rodeo. I remember when Lucien Boutte tested positive for Aspirin, when Alexander Povetkin tested positive for Aspirin. These guys probably weren't even watching boxing back then.
That they all of a sudden decided that Aspirin has a permissible threshold? That hasn't been the case in previous instances.
I don't think that's the case now.
Ryan responded to Devin Haney's comment by saying, "Bruh, you got your shit obliterated. Worse than Diddy. Fudge you. Bruh, did steroids help me connect the left on your jaw? I was tired every round. Beating you like you stole something."
No. Taking steroids isn't going to make you a better boxer, better at boxing per se, but what it can do is give you a benefit while you work out that makes you a harder puncher.
There's no need to explain it. Ryan is the one that has to do all the explaining. And if when they crack open that B sample later on this month, they find the same thing there that they found in the A sample, he's the one that's going to have to explain it. I don't expect the punishment to be particularly harsh, because when is punishment for this in boxing ever been harsh? By now, most seasoned boxing fans know that boxing has a revolving door policy on PEDs, especially in America.
But don't lose focus. Ryan is the one who's got all the explaining to do.
Last night, Ryan Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. got into it. They got into it. Errol said, "Stop letting this boy get a pass like we don't remember you taking a knee and getting up at 10. Coward as fuck." To which Devin Haney responded, "And he just got caught for performance-enhancing drugs. If that were me or you, the world wouldn't let us live it down."
My thoughts.
A lot of people were having fun trolling Devin Haney for losing that Ryan Garcia fight. Those same people are not going to let this doping fiasco get in the way of their fun. Even if it means trolling Devin Haney, even if it means making him out to be the villain,
And Ryan, the victim.
the victim of a clandestine effort to taint his victory and soil his name. They're propping up a conspiracy where he's being set up by the far left, by the Democrats, the lizard people, Victor Conti, Devin and Bill Haney. You shouldn't be surprised that after this many doping fiascos in the sport of boxing, the boxing community at large is now morally ambiguous, so much so they don't even care.
How long have I been telling you that they don't care?
They just pretend to whenever it's convenient, whenever it suits them or their narrative.
If it's a fighter they don't like, they use it against him. If it's a fighter they do like, they say that he's innocent.
There were a lot of people that didn't like Devin Haney. You had some Vasyl Lomachenko fans that didn't like Devin because they felt that he robbed Vasyl Lomachenko. There are those people. There are the Gervonta Davis fans who were angry at Devin for pursuing a fight with Gervonta. There's that group.
Those people.
And of course, Ryan Garcia's casual fans, his social media followers, many of which don't know shit about boxing, though some do. They're just being obtuse, if that's what they have to resort to defend Ryan.
But in a nutshell, going into this fight, there were already a lot of people that didn't like Devin. So when he lost, they took that as an opportunity to troll him.
And in spite of all of this coming out, they still want to troll him because the boxing community at large is a morally ambiguous community.
It's not about right or wrong, it's about what's better for them.
There used to be a time when something like this would have been thought of as disgraceful and distasteful. Not anymore.
It's happened too many times, they're desensitized.
They don't care. Right and wrong doesn't even come into it anymore. It's about what's better for them.
What suits their narrative.
Whatever makes for more fun in the sun, even if it's a tainted victory. Just in keeping with the theme of all things Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, boxing insider Rick Lacier said, "I finally have the Garcia versus Haney pay-per-view number, and it did slightly over 500,000 pay-per-view buys domestically. That's a very good number, but just not as great as I thought it would be. Ryan Garcia is clearly a great attraction." In a manner of speaking, he does have a way of drawing attention to himself. Some said that the number was at or around 1 million or over 1 million.
Because Ryan said he banked over 50 mil or was projected to earn 50 mil, and Devin said he was projected to earn 35.
It's just what they said, though. 500,000 pay-per-view buys multiplied by an $80 price point comes out to roughly $40 million. That's not counting whatever they brought in at the gate. All things considered, those are good numbers, robust numbers. And the key element here, the key factor, is that Ryan was able to do this without Gervonta. Now Gervonta, who's got a fight coming up, he's got to prove that he can match it.
Can he?
Gervonta Davis, who Eddie Hearn said, I was quite impressed with the Frank Martin press conference. I thought he being Gervonta Davis, spoke well. Previously, I've watched his press conferences, and he's quite painful to watch. But now he gets it. He's actually selling the fight. I think he's going to end up spiraling out of control at some point, somewhere. Whether that's in or outside of the ring, I don't know, because I think he's a bit wild.
It's happened to other athletes, very wealthy ones. It could happen to him.
Don't get it in your head that he's made so much money that he's set for life. Anyone can fuck off any amount of money so long as they have poor money management skills, and I suspect
He's got poor money management skills.
many people do. He hasn't made so much that one day he might not go broke and spiral out of control. It's happened before. It's happened to wealthier individuals than him. Those of you up there in age will remember how MC Hammer lost all of his money, and in more recent years, rumor has it, Floyd has burned through all of his, which is why he keeps doing these exhibition matches. He seems to have another one coming up.
Floyd is broke.
Hey, that's what 50 Cent said some years ago. That's what Gervonta Davis is saying some years later. But the same thing could happen to Gervonta, because Gervonta Davis has not yet made the kind of money that Floyd made.
Nope.
So now he's got to try to sell this Frank Martin fight. And it's no coincidence, it's no accident, that he's talking about anyone and everyone. He's talking about Shakur, he's trolling Devin, he's taking shots at Eddie Hearn.
When he does the rounds, on the podcasts, when he's on social media and doing media.
He needs an angle. He needs an angle to stay talked about, because this fight in and of itself, even if you think it's halfway decent, even if you think it's solid, there's really not that much there to talk about. There's no real backstory between Frank and Tank.
Not really. He's just the guy that's there.
That's it. And the issue is that if Ryan Garcia just put up 500,000 pay-per-view buys without Gervonta, what does Gervonta put up without Ryan? Because we know what he was putting up before he fought Ryan, and it wasn't 500,000 pay-per-view buys.
Oh, he hovered around 200,000.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, because there are a lot of box office fights out there. You know, Fury versus Usyk, that's a box office fight.
Matchroom versus Queensberry.
That's a box office fight.
We just had a few. Zoo versus Fundora, Canelo versus Munguia, Haney versus Garcia. Now it's your turn.
You want me to fight over there? Send me something first.
Yeah.
Send me something first.
Right.
I don't got to fight. You know why fighters going over there? Because they can't sell here. I can sell here. So I ain't got to go over there.
Right.
What they making over there, I'm making here.
Right.
Gervonta's statements on the potentiality of having to travel to Saudi Arabia for big cash, big money. He says he doesn't have to, because he's getting that money right here at the same time.
He's getting that money here. Fighting who?
The Saudis have branched out. They're doing shows abroad now. They're planning on doing one here, right here in America, in August. I'm sure you've heard about it.
What are you saying?
That's one less excuse Gervonta Davis can use. You no longer have to go to Saudi to get Saudi money, to get a big Saudi payday. If the Saudis are now doing a show in America and they plan to do more.
What if they offered him a big purse to fight Shakur Stevenson right here in America? What would the excuse be? I know I'm postulating.
I don't know that His Excellency has any interest in making that fight. The fight that he was interested in making was the Devin Haney fight. But Devin, he's on the bounce now. He's on the rebound.
Swap him out for Shakur.
What would the excuse be then? Gervonta Davis is running out of excuses. He himself may think he can breathe a sigh of relief that he doesn't have to worry about Devin.
Shakur's still around.
And all you're about to do is fight the guy that avoided him. After that, what then?
Who are you gonna fight?
Cross that bridge when we get to it. He's got to get through Frank Martin, and if he does, we still have to see what the numbers are.
They better be good.
And finally, in men's middleweight news, I'm sure most of you have heard by now that Carlos Adames is confirmed as the WBC's middleweight champion on the heels of Jermall Charlo, the former champion's latest arrest.
Took him long enough.
Let's not waste any time on Jermall Charlo. We've talked enough about him. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Carlos reacted to the news by saying, "Thank you, God first, to my family, to followers, to the World Boxing Council, to my team, my promoter, the best birthday present. Remember that God's timing is perfect." Quite right. The news broke the day of Carlos's birthday. Reigning unified middleweight champion Janibek reacted to the news by saying, "Carlos Adames, welcome to my club. congratulations, now you're a world champion. Let's make a fight. Let's make this fight. We are ready for belts, WBC, IBF, and WBO with the Ring Magazine title.
These two have been going back and forth via their social media accounts for well over a year now.
Though, before it becomes about Janibek versus Carlos Adames will reportedly defend his WBC middleweight world title versus Terrell Gausha on the undercard of Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin, which we just talked about, June 15th in Las Vegas. The speed of this
news
fight
gives me the impression that the WBC's decision to finally elevate Carlos to full champion has everything to do with the fight that he's about to have.
Because as soon as they elevated him to full champion, that's as soon as news broke that he'd be fighting U.S. Olympian Terrell Gausha. U.S. Olympian Terrell Gausha, who fought 2 times last year. He's fought 2 times since Tim Tszyu beat him up.
Fought in 2 fights, won 2 times since then.
Both were last year, whereas Carlos has not seen action since last year, June of last year. That's saying that the night of the Terrell Gausha fight, he will have been out of action for roughly 12 months, where Terrell will have seen action within the last 12 months, last in September.
Okay.
He's got to win that fight. He's got to shake off the ring rust, do as best as he can to win that fight and keep that belt. Because on the other side of that fight is the rest of his career and perhaps the big purses, the big paydays.
Now, we can prattle on about how long it's taken him to get here, to get to this point. We can surmise the past or focus on the future.
The way I see it, it wouldn't be ideal for Carlos Adames to go straight into a Janibek Alimkhanuly fight, a unification match, having not fought in over a year's time.
He needs a tune-up.
For the fight to be everything it can be, you want both guys to be at their best. You want both guys to be sharp. I feel like what would be ideal is for Janibek to square off against, say, Erislandy Lara, who fought not that long ago against Michael Zarafa. Let Janibek unify with Lara while Carlos fights this guy, while he fights Terrell Gausha.
And then have the winners fight each other for undisputed.
I know that as far as undisputed title fights would go, one at middleweight would fly a lot lower on the radar than most other undisputed fights we've seen within the last 5 years. But you gotta get the ball rolling. You have to do something.
This division has been stagnant for years.
Ever since Canelo moved up and Gennady unofficially retired, there's been really nothing to talk about at 160 pounds.
Not really.
With bipartisanship in the sport of boxing being all the rage as a result of the cash injections that His Excellency has been making into the sport of boxing, why not make a middleweight tournament? I mean, you see the sheer number of PBC fighters that are set to appear in the August show.
Right.
Where before, you couldn't get the PBC guys to leave the island. It seems that now you can, now that the well is dried up, but we've talked enough about that. Essentially, it can happen.
Top Rank's champion versus the PBC's champion. Why not?
2 of the belts are at Top Rank, the other 2 are at the PBC. Put them together, make something happen, because something needs to.
To kickstart this division.
Let's crown the next undisputed champion.